Hey, Shalom Akim, Shalom, 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 Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatam, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Mystery and Rule Well. This is Brother Menashe, DC Camp, short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, this AI euphoria, this AI craze, this AI, hype, it's getting a lot of people messed up, man. So it's always important, man. You got to be careful how you use this AI tool, man. Don't overly depend on it. So we had that case from years ago where an Edomite woman shot a Jake in Georgia. She was claiming she was performing a citizen's arrest, and she shot the man while he was trying to get away, not knowing he was having a medical condition. So, you know what happens, man. The Lord always allowed these things, these incidents to take place so that we could understand what's going to be happening down the line. So the assistant district attorney, prosecutor, used AI, to prepare the documentation, the legal briefs to submit to the Supreme Court, and she got jammed up because the AI was, making up information, man, that never existed. So you gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful, and it's one of those things. It's one of those things you have to be aware of. Man, using these tools, man. When you use it, you have to make sure it's pulling from the right source, because you've also had lawsuits from companies that claim that these AI projects have been poaching from their resources to to gain market share. So if you build a website and you have advertising revenue coming to you, and somebody else builds a AI bot AI tool, just skimming off information from your website, but you're not getting paid, for your resources, for your for your intellectual property, then it becomes an issue. So that's the reason why you have to understand, man, why some companies go out of business. It's not because that they don't have a good business model, it's because somebody else was able to figure out how to copy exactly what they are doing and duplicate it over and over, replicate it over and over. So I'll read a scripture real quick. It's going to be from the book of Proverbs, chapter 19 and 5. It says, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. So you have to be aware, man. If you have a situation, that's involves legal documentation, just be careful with AI. Even when you hire a lawyer, you got to make sure your lawyer doesn't use AI to, throw your case, into the gutter, man. Because this court system is filled with so many cases that need to go before the judges. They need to be heard. When you're filing your petition and you're submitting it to the clerk of the court, you just gotta know that who don't provide incorrect information, and then it becomes a headache. Because if you testifying under oath, that's another situation. you have to be aware of, man. Testifying under oath and introducing false information, that's a big, a big, you know, a big, what do you call it, a big bulldozer, man. Against your position. So you got to be wise as a serpent, and harmless as a dove. So Proverbs chapter 19 and 5, a wise, it's like a false witness. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. So that's what happens, man. The Lord prefers a just balance. When you have falsehood, it becomes an abomination, before the Lord. That's the reason why, you have to, be careful in how you deal in this ministry, man. Be careful how you proceed forward.
New at 10, the Clayton County District Attorney has issued a big apology. One of her prosecutors used AI for a court filing at the Georgia Supreme Court.
The AI cited cases that simply don't exist. The Chief Justice called that prosecutor out in the middle of court.
Fox 5's Rob Durienzo has more tonight on the consequences she's now facing.
Well, this was a major embarrassment for the Clayton County District Attorney's Office here at Georgia's highest court. I obtained the letter that the District Attorney wrote to the Chief Justice admitting that one of her prosecutors used AI for court filings and that AI made stuff up.
There are at least 5 citations to cases that don't exist, and there's at least 5 more citations to cases that do not support the proposition for which they're cited.
Yeah, so that's a problem. That's a problem right there. So what exactly do people learn in law school? That's the issue. You have to really address. What's the use of having a law license but cannot provide accurate and ironclad information? So you just have to be circumspect, man. Because when brothers just go into this AI websites, man, and just pull information from there and then they post it in the chat. Sometimes you just have to wonder where exactly is this information coming from, man. And folks just think like AI just created the information itself. Yeah, whoever designed the model for the AI program, needs to go back to the drawing board and redesign the model to minimize all types of errors, because when you have a AI program that is widely used, you're constantly updating it because you don't want to provide inaccurate information. So when you start claiming that AI did this, AI did that, nah. It doesn't function on its own, man. It's designed a certain way by the programmers to get a certain result. So don't get yourself in awe of this AI, responses you pull from websites. If it works, make sure it works properly. If it doesn't, you have to go figure it out. Sometimes they say the shortcut, man, can cause you many headaches. So I get another precept. Right now. So this is from Proverbs 16 and 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So, you don't want to cause yourself any harm. Depression can dampen a person's spirit. So you have to be wise, man, how you approach this AI propaganda, this AI euphoria, this AI hype. There's so much hype about AI, that people just forget, to do their homework. You gotta be circumspect when you use all these tools, so that it doesn't come and bite you in the behind later on. All right.
At the Supreme Court of Georgia, a humiliating revelation for this prosecutor with the Clayton County District Attorney's Office. In a letter to Chief Justice Nels Peterson, DA Tasha Mosley says prosecutor Deborah Leslie used AI to write briefings, which made up case citations.
Those non-existent cases were cited in your initial brief opposing the motion for new trial.
Your Honor, I'm not aware of that, but I would be glad to research that.
The court was hearing the appeal of Hannah Payne, who is
Yeah, that's a situation. She might not be the one that that sat behind a computer and wrote it. It might be one of her subordinates, so she has to take the rap for it.
convicted of murdering a man after a hit and run back in 2019. DA Mosley told the court the prosecutor violated her office's ethical standards by relying on artificial intelligence. She now faces sanctions including suspension, loss of privileges, and a grievance with the state bar.
So that's another problem, especially when you're dealing with all these pharmaceutical companies, man. If the AI provides the wrong prescription for you, and then you start having problems, that's another issue, man. That's the reason why, you gotta be careful, man, because a lot of these companies, they want to cut labor costs. They don't want to be paying for those insurance for the employees and matching their 401k and all that stuff. They're all about union busting. They want to pay less and earn more. They want to do more with less. So when you hear about all these folks losing their jobs, it's because the company is cutting costs. They have to generate revenue, more profits. And then the SEC has already made the declaration that all these financial companies, these companies that are on the market, they don't have to file their reports every quarter. Now it's twice a year, every 6 months. So now, what's gonna happen? That's a situation you have to be aware of. So another precept you have to be looking at is from the book of Micah. Micah chapter 2 and 11 says, "If a man walking in the spirit of falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of these people." So, yeah, man, you got to be careful. Falsehoods is something that a lot of people that are ignorant, especially our people, they like to gravitate towards, man. They like the glam and the glow, but they don't really favor the substance, which is the word of faith. The word of faith, man. Just attracted to all these shenanigans, man. The Lord talks about the worship the Lord. They worship Him with their mouths, but their heart is far from Him. So it's gonna be a challenge, man. Because people can be easily deceived with all this AI technology. Even when they have skits, when there's a skit, bro, I can't even tell the difference. Someone has to come tell them it's a skit. Folks just take a skit and they just run with it. I'm like, wow, man. So that's the issue, man. If you can, run with a skit, and give out information that's not really happening. What you think is going to happen when AI gives you the wrong information. So that's about it, man. You just got to be careful about how you use these AI tools, man. Don't be overly dependent on it, man. You have to avoid this situation, man. You don't want to be captive, man. You don't want to be captive to AI. That's exactly what a lot of people are having to deal with now, man. Every time they call the customer service line, it's always the AI agenda, man. Press one, enter your PIN, enter your 4-digit code, last four social security, all that stuff, man. It's just the automated messages. So, folks being prepared, they've been primed for this, years ago. So now we're seeing that sooner or later, man, you're going to have more propaganda. So you just have to learn how to, see through the distraction and focus on the substance. Shalom.